Hey, what's going on, everybody? You are live with Osiris, and welcome to Feel Good Happiness. This is a place where you can come to just sit back, relax, hear some soulful information, some soulful thoughts, and just something that can help keep you warm from the inside. You know what I mean? Something that keeps you in a mood that you know everything's going to be okay. That's the whole point of this show, is just to add value. Put it out there into the world, put some good energy out there to get rid, or to a lesser extent, just somewhat balance the negativity with the positivity. You know, I'm not going to come on this show and bring you negative news unless that negativity has some form of an optimistic outcome. There's plenty of stuff around the internet that allows for people to indulge into that. And I don't want to be that person. So today, I would like to just briefly talk about life and why it is important to be spontaneous in life. Just recently, my wife surprised my son and I with some tickets to go see Deadpool x Wolverine, and that movie was so good. And it was so much fun to go with my son on a father-son date to go see a movie. But where I'm getting at is, it was on a Thursday. This wasn't a Friday night. This wasn't a Saturday night. This was a Thursday night where I had work the following morning. And there's a reason why I'm saying that. See, my family, we are known for doing things when we would like to do those things. Of course, we respect the schedule. But what I mean by that is, if it's just us, we're not at work, we're not doing anything around the house, or we aren't preoccupied with some things, regardless of the day of the week, we're going to go do something. We're going to go somewhere. We've gone all the way to Los Angeles, California on a Sunday night, with work being the following morning, and the commute was about like an hour and 20 minutes. Our oldest son at the time, where it was just my oldest baby boy, we left him at my in-laws' home, and then we said, you know what? We came up with this idea, mostly my wife, but I agreed to it. With this idea, let's just go to Universal Studios. It was such a random thought. It was right after work, and we had just talked, let's go to Universal Studios. Drove directly to Universal and just had a great time together. That's one example. Another example would be what just happened, us going to the movies on a Thursday night. Goodness, I can give plenty of reasons as to why that matters. Because if you catch yourself in a cycle, right, you are waking up, going to school, or you're waking up, going to work Monday through Friday, and then you use Friday night to go do whatever you want to do, whether it's going to a movie, going on your dates, partying, having fun, detoxing, relaxing, whatever it is. Friday nights are generally the day of the week where people are feeling the excitement. You know, the weekend is literally right around the corner. People are excited, they're thrilled. They don't have to worry about work. They don't have to worry about school. They don't have really much to worry about. Even if you have a family, the idea of being able to relax with them or go out somewhere with them on a Friday, the energy is high. But hit that Sunday night and people are just dreading going to sleep because they know that Monday is just going to repeat the cycle. And it's really easy to get caught up in a routine that's gluttonous and is mundane and can really cause for you to stagnate and get into this routine that occurs day in and day out, and then that stretches to weeks, then months, then years, and now you're in your 60s, now you're in your 70s, and all your best years are behind you, and now you're broken down, you feel like you can't really do much, most of your friends are gone or have passed away, or your relatives are much older and maybe they're not around anymore, or maybe they are, but they're not as energized as they once were. You know, time catches up. Where I'm getting at is we spend most of our days in a routine in this, how can I say this? You spend most of your time in a routine that just makes you feel like a machine that has no oil. And most people feel down and they feel depressed and they feel sad and angry and confused and stressed, and there's no way out of it for them. It's just a cycle. They get a job, they go to school, they graduate, They maybe go to college or they maybe go into the military, and they get into a routine of that process. They meet new friends, they maybe form a family, and now their life is dedicated towards their family, or maybe it's dedicated towards their friends, or it's just a cycle, and that just continues to repeat. There are very few far in between. It's like a 1% where they don't allow themselves to be stuck in that routine, and they create other avenues for themselves that can then create better routines for their heart and soul. But that's not many people. Being happy is not easy, but it's not hard. What I mean by that is you have to know, one, what happiness looks like, and then two, you have to understand where you are, and where you are absolutely matters in terms of your happiness. So what I'm going to share with everyone is specifically to the United States of America. And I'm going to name the top 5 happiest states to live in. And in retrospect, I'm going to share the bottom 5 of that list as well. Then I'm going to tell you why I'm sharing that list. And I will be sure to link this source in the description of this episode, so you all can fact check me. Just click on that. That's where I'm getting this article from. But this is from worldpopulationreview.com. Happiest states to live in 2024. We have at number 1, Hawaii. Number 2 is Maryland. Number 3 is Minnesota. Number 4 is Utah. And number 5 is New Jersey. Let's go ahead with the top 10. What the heck? Number 6 is Idaho. Number 7, California. Then we have Illinois at 8, Nebraska at 9, and Connecticut at 10. Now, in retrospect, I must share the bottom 10 on this list. On the bottom 10, we have West Virginia, Louisiana, Arkansas, Kentucky, Alabama, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Tennessee, New Mexico, and Missouri. Obviously, happiness is dependent on what you make of your situation, but it is quite a challenge to create happiness if you don't know what it looks like. Let's say in those states that I just named that was on the bottom of the list. Let's say you grew up in that environment. To you, your happiness is the product of the environment of happiness. And maybe to everyone outside of those 10 states, maybe their perception of what happiness looks like is different than what it looks like in those bottom 10 states. This is why I want to point out what they are measuring the happiness on from these states on this list. It's being based solely on 3 things: emotional and physical well-being. Well, that's like 2 things, but that's one and the same. So emotional and physical well-being, then your work environment, followed by community and environment. So that's what I'm saying. You're becoming a product of your environment. This is what is measured off of. And I don't want to go too deep into this. That's why I want to link the article there for everyone to go through and read. But it's important to know your surroundings. It's important to understand what is better for you. If you're somebody who wants to stay where you are and never grow, you will never grow. Even if you are in those top 10 states, that's the happiest as of 2024. Things always change. It's not to say that if you go to those states, you're going to magically feel happy. Happiness is where your heart is. You have to know what it looks like. You absolutely have to know. And part of that is just being spontaneous in your routine and in your life. I was just in Mississippi for 2 months. Granted, I didn't live there, but I was in Mississippi for 2 months. And in those 2 months, I saw all I needed to see to understand that you absolutely have to bring your optimism to wherever it is you go, and then add value in that environment. Don't try to change the environment. Just add your piece into the puzzle, and in adding that is where the seeds can grow to then kind of matriculate into little things for other people to then grow into their own happiness. I will also say this. It's not a matter of the state you live in as much as it is the city in that state that you live in. California is full of absolutely gorgeous locations, but do not be fooled. The homelessness in this state, in San Francisco and in Los Angeles, it is egregious. I can't begin to tell you. how bad the homelessness is in this state. Yeah, California made the top 10 list, but the homelessness is ridiculous. Man, don't get fooled. These studies do show metrics, but happiness, it is absolutely what you make of your location. It is what you make of your life and what you decide to do with the value that you've learned to then make it better. And being spontaneous in your life does help. Don't stick to a routine. Don't just base your joy and your love for things off of other people's ideology. You need to form your own opinion. You need to get out there. You need to grow. You need to go have some fun. You need to run around and do things that is not in your normal day-to-day routine. If your day-to-day routine consists of doing things that are different, then absolutely continue to do that. But if it's just go to sleep, wake up, go to work or go to school, do homework or do work and then bring that work home or bring that schoolwork home and then maybe have like 1 hour to yourself, and that's assuming you don't have a family. And if you do, then what time do you actually have for yourself? And then you go back to sleep and you repeat that cycle, and then you maybe out of 7 days out of the week, you might get Saturday, just one day, assuming you've taken no vacation, one day to do something valuable. The ratio does not line up. It's like a 6-to-1 ratio. And I say 6-to-1 because Friday you're working or Friday you're at school, and Sunday you're preparing to go back to work or preparing to go back to school. So that one day out of the week, no holiday, no time off, no leave, no vacation, just strictly what it looks like in the United States. You might get one day off out of the week. And that is assuming you are not running your own business. But if you are, then you may love what you're doing. And to that sense, it doesn't feel like work. But if you're not in that situation, which most people are not, you need to get yourself out of that mindless grind. I don't want to discredit anybody who's in that cycle because it feeds families. But how many of those people are happy? Just find something in that routine that you're doing that adds joy to your life. And if that's being spontaneous with your life and doing some fun things, be safe, of course, but doing things that are fun, then go do that. But do not stick to the status quo. That's all I'm saying. When's the last time you did something for the first time? And on that note, I appreciate you all sticking through this episode. You all take care. Have a great remainder of your day. You are live with Osiris, and I'll catch you next time.